Alrighty, so I believe it was last Friday, or maybe the Friday before. Hell, I don't remember. It was a Friday. I think it was my birthday. Anyway, moving on. A beta version of Paladins was released on Steam. This is brought to you by Hi-Rez Studio. If you are familiar with them, they do games such as Smite and Tribes Descended as well. I enjoy both of those games. I rather enjoy Paladins, which I am calling a poor man's Overwatch, even though the creators are trying to bridge the gap so much and say this is not a copy of Overwatch. We are not basing it off of Overwatch. It just happened to be, Overwatchy. Um, all in all, it's a 5 versus 5 kind of, get to a control point, hold the control point, escort the cart, which is very Overwatchy to me. But it's a free to play game right now with it being in the beta stages, in early access. You're definitely going to get your quick patch updates and everything else, and you might even be able to find a few exploits early on. I have fun playing the game only with a few hours. I streamed a match last night. Didn't do too hot. I think I ended up like 61 kills to 5 deaths or something like that. But they have it broke down by class. There's a support class, heavy damage class, frontline class, and a flanking class. All play their pivotal roles. You can't pick. The only issue I have is you can't have two of the same hero on one side. So if you have the archer girl, which I think is named Evie, you can't have her on both sides. You can only have it on one side, and it's like that all the way down the board, which kind of puts a damper on things when somebody picks my favorite character to play as, and now I'm going, shit, who do I play as now? But overall, it's a bright kind of playful game at times. I mean, it's definitely one that you want to try to get in there with a few friends and play, because it can be frustrating at times when you're the only one capturing the control point at the beginning of the match and nobody else wants to help out. I mean, basically some of the same hangups that we all discussed on about the Overwatch review that Kermit and Monkey Paws did a while back. So, all in all, I definitely recommend the game, even if you have nothing better to do with your time and you don't want to feel like spending money to try out a new game. This is definitely one for you to go ahead and try out.
I did a little bit of research on this after you told me about it and was having fun with it. I do have to give them some props. They had this in development for a long time. There has been screenshots of it, gameplay trailers that were released, this and that, on their YouTube channel for a long time before Overwatch came out. So, I mean, could they have known when they were both in development? Could they have found out about it and, like, literally a week after it went into development for Overwatch, they started? Yeah, possibly. But I do believe them in the fact that, like, this wasn't a rip-off of Overwatch. They just both came up with the same idea around the same time. Because it's been in development for around the same time, just Overwatch beat them to the punch, so to speak.
Well, yeah, Overwatch is backed by Blizzard, so shit. Blizzard can crank out a game twice as fast as Hi-Rez Studios or Productions. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, definitely. So were the characters all very unique in their own? Do they feel like ripped off characters of other games, or do they feel like their own thing? Because from what I was hearing, that these are actually characters from their other games. There's a game in particular, I can't remember the name of it, that gave them the idea to, like, hey, this is fun, why don't we take some of these characters, create some new ones, and turn this into, like, kind of an arena first-person shooter battle type thing.
So I just want to say, having played Overwatch and watched him play this, I like the idea behind this one, Paladins, better, because it doesn't allow you to have the same two characters, like he was saying. I know it's a pain in the ass for him, but if anybody's ever played Overwatch, you know that when you go to pick your character to play online, it tells you what you have, but it doesn't stop you from having more than one of that character. So it'll tell you, like, what classes your team already has, and it's up to you to choose the classes that are still needed. Now, obviously, gamers, we don't really have that, like, thought process. We just kind of are like, oh, I like this one, and there's going to be 5 of them on that team. And so with this one, though, with Paladins, they kind of took that part out of it, and it gives everybody the opportunity to play as a team versus as an individual on a team, if that makes sense. So, you know, you have your 5 different classes, and in order to win, they need to work in tandem. Whereas with Overwatch, if you have, you know, 3 healers and 2 snipers or whatever the classes are, because I haven't played it in so long, you're just basically like fucking yourself because there's 2 other classes that you could be playing as. And so the other team that comes out there, you don't get to see what they have, I don't think. Deanne might be able to tell me because she paid more attention than I did. But like they don't actually give you, they don't have any way to say, okay, there's already 2, what are they? Are they mercy classes? Do you remember?
The healers?
Yeah, they call them something else in the game.
It's support characters. But
let me see if I can find it while you're talking.
Yeah, the biggest issue with Overwatch is that the whole thing is everyone wanting to. I've been on a team playing against people that were all Bastion, the giant robot that turns into a minigun.
The turret, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you're fucking kidding me. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, so the sound of what Paladins is doing sounds a lot better where you can't be the same person twice.
Okay, here, I found the 4 classes that Overwatch has are offense, defense, support, and tank. So if you have 4 support characters and 1 tank, like that's not really going to do the job where it would if you had like 2 tanks, 2 supports, or 2 tanks, 1 support, 1 defense, 1 offense. Like Paladins kind of gives you the opportunity for everybody to be one of each, and you have to do teamwork. Whereas Overwatch kind of has that every man for himself mentality. Like they don't really work together to get the payload. Like at least that's how it felt when I played online. I don't know about you, but
yeah, it did. No one gave 2 shits.
Okay, I was like, am I alone here?
No one really gave 2 shits. They just wanted to kill.
There are some people, though, that really like that kind of game, so I'm not going to say, like, you guys are idiots because you're not. It's just, a player's preference. Like, I like teamwork, and, not everybody does, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where you guys are coming from. I mean, I do agree with the mentality of, in a time where we want everything to be open and everything to be up to us and our decision, this game forces your hand to, you can pick all damage class if you want, but, the chances of you being able to have all damage class is kind of slim because, like League of Legends or Smite, you have to buy certain heroes with so much gold. I know, I'm just stuck with the ones right now that you get when you first start playing the game because I don't feel like paying real money to get fake money to buy a fake hero. I mean, but I get why they do it, why they force your hand with the hey, look here, little fuckheads, we're gonna make you play this class or play this guy, but you can't have this guy and this guy can't have this guy.
Oh, see, okay, now I don't like it anymore. I was thinking that you meant that you could only have one from each class, or of the many classes. But
it could have been changed. I mean, there was a patch today that I had to download for it, so they probably just changed that again. I mean, like I said, it's beta, it's early stages. They're gonna play with things left and right. So we'll see what happens. As long as they don't do like they did with Rust, which you got 2 totally different games when you bought the early access as compared to where it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the way a lot of early access goes. So.
No, I can't really see them changing it to be the way that I was describing it, or the way that I understood it anyway. Because, there's only a small, I guess, percentage. I wouldn't even say it that way. There's only like yes, there's a small percentage, but there's only a small group of people that are really like, oh, hey, let's get a team together and, you know, make this actually work together. A lot of people that play, they're like, I want to be this, and that's what I want to be. And I don't really care if my team has this other one. And I feel like if they were to patch away from that, so like that you could only choose one character from each class on your team, I feel like from a money standpoint, when it does come out of its beta and free to play stage, that will cause players to not want to purchase it because they have the mentality that, oh, you know, what if I want to be on a team with 5 defense or 5 support or something like that. I feel like that would take away from them more than it would help the game.
There has been games, though, that do what I would like and what you like, Michelle, is make it where you cannot pick the same class. This is a bad example since it was an game to begin with, but that Evolve game where one person was a monster and then 4 other players was a team. Yeah, 4 other people were a team. It's a scramble to pick the character you want. If you don't get that character, then you're next up on the chopping block to pick a different one because you have to have somebody of a different class. And the cool thing about that game is they have many, many, many characters that you can choose from and unlock and do this and that with for each class, so you can preset to which one you want to be if you get that class. But if you don't get that class, you got to move on to something else because you have to have a team mentality for that game to work, or it's just going to be a shit show. So it was set up that way from the get-go. And I don't mind games coming out like that. I think there is a market for it. But Evolve it's an okay game, but it loses its luster very quick. It's just an game. But you could make a better game like that.